Imagine a king who died thousands of years ago. But every year millions of people still wait for him to come home. Not with an army, not with weapons, but with flowers, with food, with celebration, and with an empty place in their hearts. His name was Mahabali, and this is the story of why Kerala celebrates Onam. Long ago, there was a king named Mahabali, or Maveli. He was an Asura king, but the stories remember him very differently from the usual image of an Asura. Mahabali was powerful, yes, but he was also generous, he was respected, and most importantly, he was loved. His kingdom was said to be a place of prosperity, where people lived without fear, hunger, or discrimination. No one was considered greater than another, and the people did not simply obey their king, they loved him. But when a king becomes too powerful, even the heavens begin to notice. The Devas became concerned about Mahabali's growing influence. And then, Lord Vishnu came to earth. But he did not arrive as a warrior. He came disguised as a small Brahmin boy. His name was Vamana. One day, Vamana appeared before Mahabali while the king was performing a great sacrifice. Mahabali welcomed him and asked, "What do you want?" Vamana had a very simple request. 3 paces of land, that was all. For a king who ruled an enormous kingdom, 3 paces seemed almost meaningless. Mahabali agreed, but he didn't know that the small boy standing before him was about to change everything. Vamana began to grow, and grow, and grow. The little Brahmin boy became enormous. His first step covered the earth, his second step reached the heavens. Mahabali stood before him and realized there was nowhere left for the third step. Vamana looked at him. Mahabali understood. He had promised 3 steps, and a promise was a promise. So the king bowed his head. "There is no land left. Place your 3rd step upon me." And that is what happened. Mahabali lost his kingdom, he lost his position. He was sent away from the world of the living, but Vishnu was pleased by his sacrifice. And Mahabali asked for one final wish. Not wealth, not power, not his kingdom back. He asked to see his people. Just once. And according to the legend, Vishnu granted him that wish. Mahabali would be allowed to return to his kingdom once every year to see the people he loved. And that return is what Onam celebrates. For 10 days, Kerala prepares for the arrival of its beloved king. It begins with Atham. The first flowers are placed on the ground, beginning the Pookkalam, the beautiful floral design that grows larger with each passing day. Then comes Chithra. Homes are cleaned. The celebration begins to take shape. Choti brings new clothes and preparations. Vishakam brings the excitement of food and the great feast that is coming. Anizam brings the famous Valam Kali, the snake boat traditions, where long boats race through Kerala's waters. As the days pass, families gather, temples come alive, music fills the air, traditional dances and celebrations spread through villages and cities. The Pookkalam becomes bigger, the preparations become more intense, and then comes Uthradam, when figures representing Mahabali and Vamana become part of the floral celebration. After that comes Uthradam, the final preparations. Food is bought, homes are decorated, families return home. The king is coming. And then comes Thiruvonam, the most important day of the celebration. People dress in traditional clothes. Homes are decorated with flowers. Families gather together. And the most unforgettable part of Onam begins. The Onam Sadya, a feast served on a banana leaf. Rice, curries, avial, thoran, pickles, papadam, and finally, payasam. But the sadhya is more than food. Everyone sits together. Everyone shares the same feast. And for a moment, the old story of Mahabali's kingdom comes alive again. A place of abundance, equality, and togetherness. That is what makes Onam different. It is not simply a celebration of the return of a mythical king. It is the celebration of the world people wish he had left behind. A world where nobody is forgotten. A world where prosperity is shared. A world where people come together. And perhaps that is why Mahabali is still remembered. Because kings are usually remembered for the kingdoms they conquered. Mahabali is remembered for the people who loved him. Year The flowers are arranged. The feast is prepared. The boats race. The music begins. Families come home. And somewhere in the heart of Kerala, Mahabali comes home too. Not to sit on a throne, but to see whether his people are still happy. And maybe that is the real meaning of Onam. A king may lose his kingdom. A kingdom may disappear. But if people continue to remember you, you never truly leave. This Onam, when you see a Pookkalam, when you sit down for Sadya, when you watch the boats race, remember the story behind it. Because beneath all the flowers, food, and celebration is the story of a king who was loved so deeply that an entire land still waits for him to come home.